Hi everyone and welcome to a special Mind Valley Masterclass on yoga. Yoga has been one of the most amazing fitness phenomenons to sweep the United States and Europe. It started out in India, but today yoga is just about everywhere. Once considered weird and taboo, yoga is now practiced by tens of millions of people in the United States. There's overwhelming scientific evidence on what yoga can do for the body, but the way yoga has evolved in many parts of the world has made it nothing more than a form of stretching and exercise. Whereas, if you go to the roots of yoga, where it originally came from in the East, in India, yoga is so much more. And we found that in our Mind Valley community of millions of people, there's a growing interest in yoga, but there's also so many questions on how to get started, on will yoga apply to me if I am obese, if I'm over 60. And what we wanted to do as Mind Valley is design a yoga program that would be suitable to women of all ages, to men of all ages, to every body type out there. Because we really believe in yoga. It is one of the most practiced physical activities among men and women at Mind Valley today. So in this special masterclass, I'm bringing you Cecilia Sardio straight all the way from Italy. Cecilia and I have been business partners for many years. And together we launched a company dedicated to yoga called Zenwood. Zenwood was launched in around 2015, I believe.
Yes.
And Zenwood has been providing yoga training to thousands of women all across the world. But today we're having this masterclass because we, together with Cecilia, are bringing Mind Valley's first 21-day yoga program to Mind Valley's Quest platform. And because of our work over the past couple of years with Zenwood, we've been able to tap into so many remarkable yoga instructors around the world and truly create a remarkable program that we can't wait to get out to you. What we're going to do in this masterclass is help address some of the biggest myths, the biggest roadblocks that people have towards starting yoga. So as you go through this masterclass with Cecilia Sardio, you're going to learn how to get going in your yoga practice. And Cecilia, before I let you share your remarkable story, because yoga has fundamentally changed your life, right?
Absolutely, Vishen. It changed my life and I can't wait to see how it can change yours too.
So in this masterclass with Cecilia, we're going to cover the following topics. We're going to talk about how yoga is actually multidimensional. It's not just about fitness, but how it actually has strong correlation with improving your mental states, your spiritual states, and your emotional states. We're going to uncover and toss away the 5 biggest myths that prevent people from starting a yoga practice. And we're going to talk about some of the new science that's showing why yoga is so beneficial. And best of all, we're actually going to teach you in this class, guided by Cecilia, a simple yoga routine you can start immediately. And we're also going to answer some of the biggest questions we're getting from our community on how to get started with their yoga practice. You ready to begin?
Absolutely. I can't wait.
So before we get started, these are some of the remarkable things people are saying about Cecilia and her yoga programs, just so you know how impactful this is on people's lives. So here's a couple of letters we got from people who are part of this program. Kelly from Arizona said, I love the variety and the instructors. Thank you for helping me find peace. And Amy hit the nail right in the head when she said this. I live in a small town and I love living here, but there is no yoga studio. And honestly, I prefer practice in the comfort of my own home anyway. There are so many different flows, so much to choose from. Love Zenwood. David, and yes, men do this too, he said, it has brought me more balance with the universe and a stronger mind, body, and spirit. Isabella from France said this, even with my extra pounds, even being in my 50s, I feel stronger, more energized, more confident, peppier, and so alive. And our audience is really from all across the world. Check this out. Andra from Romania said, I absolutely love Cecilia's teachings, love the integrative community that supports us in our individual journey to self-discovery. Simona from Ontario said, I feel transformed from my yoga journey. Zoe Edwards said, making yoga a daily discipline is, of course, so much more than just exercise, so I feel I'm improving myself on so many levels. And Tammy said, I can do it whenever I want to. I can't tell you how happy I am that you have this available for us. So those are a couple of letters that we get from customers, and we're just getting started. Thousands upon thousands of people are going to be enrolling in this program as we kick it off. So Cecilia, let's get started. One of the first big misconceptions that you want to share with the world about yoga is the fact that yoga is not just exercise.
it's a massive misunderstanding that we need to clarify. The fact that yoga is a workout brings most people to either never try yoga because they think they're not flexible enough, they're not strong enough, or it brings people to to give up too soon. And that is like a shame, because when you practice yoga in a comprehensive way, you realize it's a proper lifestyle. And I'm not talking about becoming vegetarian or giving up your favorite pizza or wine. I'm Italian, so red wine, pizza, pasta are a must for me. But all I'm saying is that you will start striving naturally for what's healthier for you. And I'm not just talking about food, I'm talking about thoughts, I'm talking about emotions. Because we, as human beings, we all consist of 4 dimensions. Most of us approach yoga from a physical standpoint because we are very familiar with our physical dimension. And we live in a society where, unfortunately, the size of our waist is way more important than the size of our ideas, right? And so we feel the pressure to look a certain way, otherwise we don't feel enough. But it's interesting how yoga makes you realize that you are a unique expression of the whole. And that's what I'm talking about when I mention the 4 dimensions, right? What are these 4 dimensions? We have the physical body, we have the emotional body, we have the mental body, what we think, and we have the spiritual body. And when I mention the spiritual side of yoga, I'm not talking about religion at all. The spirituality of yoga is the connection to the whole, to something that is way bigger than ourselves. So all of a sudden we realize that we're not just isolated ego floating in space. We are connected to others, we are connected to life. And if you think about how much harm and damage is going on in the world right now because of this sense of separateness, if way more people would practice yoga, we could possibly achieve world peace in a very, very short span of time. So that's why I'm so fond of this topic. That's why I want people to practice the true yoga. Now, there is no shortcut when it comes to practicing yoga the real way. There is no path of least resistance, but thanks to the practice of yoga, you can really work simultaneously on all of your 4 dimensions. Now, what happens usually is that each one of us is drawn toward a very specific dimension, right? The one that we like the most. So some of us are very physical people. So you end up spending at the gym hours a day, but then the last book you read about personal growth was 30 years ago. Now that's unbalanced, that's a problem, and you will always feel like you lack something. You may compensate your lack, your sense of lack by going to the gym even more, but you want to realize that that's not gonna cut it, right? Now another extreme example, but it's very common, is that you actually have a brilliant mind, right? You can find easy solutions to really complex problems, but then you go out in the world and you're not even able to strike a conversation with a new person that you're meeting that day. So again, you will always feel something is lacking, and you will try to search for what's the problem, and nothing will work. Why? Because there is no problem. Because we just need to become aware that we already have all of these 4 dimensions. We just need to work on all of them, not on just one of them. Otherwise, we'll always feel like we're not enough.
And what you're saying is that yoga, unlike regular exercise, works on all of these 4 dimensions.
Absolutely.
And if you are looking for a good yoga solution or teacher or studio or app, you're looking at all of these 4 dimensions.
Well, if the yoga studio and the teachers are good, then absolutely yes.
Right. Well, to quote you, because one of my favorite quotes from you is this: yoga is not just a workout, yoga is a work in.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the main reasons why yoga is primarily a work in is that it trains you to be more present. How? Through the breath. We start focusing on the breath whether we are on the mat or off the mat, because one of the most powerful ways to practice yoga is to practice it in our daily lives. How so? By simply paying attention to something that we usually give for granted. Now, that's yoga. That's actually yoga. Yoga is not a pose, yoga is not an asana, yoga is not bending like a pretzel, balancing on your toes, that's on your fingertips. That's not necessarily yoga. That's a tiny part of yoga, but if you stop there, you will miss out on the best part. And the best part is cultivating presence in your life, mindfulness. That is yoga, right? So we live in a world where our attention is constantly fragmented. We're constantly interrupting ourselves through technology, social media. That's definitely not helping. So in order to make sure that we live a balanced lifestyle in this modern hectic world, which is awesome and amazing, but we need to learn how to live in it, then we need to train ourselves to be present even more. What happens when we're present present is that we simply realize what we were sharing before, that we consist of way more than just one dimension, right? That we are part of something bigger. When that happens, we start coming from a place of self-love, self-care. There is not enoughness anymore. There is no unworthiness. There is not feeling of not belonging. There is not feeling of being separate. Can you imagine what that can do when you have to choose what to eat, when you have to choose what to say, when you have to choose what to think? Those are all of the dimensions, right? So treating yoga as a workout may or may not work for your body. Some people will lose weight through yoga, some others won't. But if you just treat it as a work-in, then you are not only going to lose all of the weight that you need to lose from the physical standpoint, but you will lose all of the layers of thoughts, emotions, anything that you have stuffed your body and your mind with that right now are just blurring your vision. They're blurring your calling. You don't even know why you're here, what are you doing, and you just go on the mat to do like this pretzel pose, then you give up because it looks so complicated. And that's the whole misconception that we need to absolutely get rid of. Yoga is first and foremost a work-in. You start there, and yoga will meet you wherever you are at. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you have done yoga before. It doesn't even matter if you have been injured before. All it matters is that yoga meets you where you are right now. There is no...
And I've noticed that about some of the students, because you've trained a lot of people at Mind Valley, and what happens, I notice, is that when you try to ask someone to exercise every day for an hour, there's a lot of resistance, right? Because it's boring going to the gym. But the people I've seen you train in terms of yoga, they willingly spend an hour a day. And to them, it's not effort. It's not exercise. It's something beyond. That hour a day spent on yoga is an hour that they're giving themselves. It's as easy and as important and as healing and nourishing to them as, just lying back on the couch and I guess watching Netflix and drinking a glass of wine. There's this pleasure to it. What is causing that?
Presence. Once again, it's presence. You will notice if you start observing students in a class, the students that are just trying to make that effort to get into the pose, even if their body's not ready, they're trying to emulate the teacher because the pose needs to look that way, they will probably give up on yoga way too soon, or they will just get injured. That's usually what happens. But if you look at the peaceful guys, and usually those are the people who just go with the flow, and to them, the time stops. You are not working out. Working out, the idea of working out is so daunting for most of us, unless you really enjoy, weightlifting or whatever. So, and then we're busy, right? But what happens when you spend an hour doing yoga? And by the way, we'll also share how you don't really need to spend an hour doing yoga, but if you want to, it will change all of the rest of your day.
So Ceci, tell us about your backstory, because you've got an incredible story on yoga. Because I've seen how you've used yoga to become a successful entrepreneur in Italy, to build a business, to become a social media personality, to move the lives of tens of thousands of people in your home country. But I've also seen your story of how yoga has completely transformed your body. I'd love for you to share that with us.
So I started practicing yoga with my dad when I was a very little kid. And then eventually I grew out of my yoga practice because we know that everything that our parents do is definitely uncool and we need to do quite the opposite, right? So I did quite the opposite. I started living a very unbalanced lifestyle. I was traveling a lot, and I started eating too much, and I became at some point 44 pounds overweight. Now, I tried every possible thing to fix that, because as a young woman, my self-image was really important to me, and I struggled with my body image for a very long time, of course, due to the situation. And so I was trying diets, I was trying, all the possible different workouts. I hired a personal trainer, a fitness personal trainer, to help me out, and I could achieve some results, but they were never long-term. Then eventually, I was exhausted, and I was like, someone told me, why don't you just give yoga a shot? And I was like, really? Yoga? Okay, fine. So I went back to my practice. I took my very first yoga class after probably 27 years, and I realized I had been striving for something that didn't even exist. I was striving for an ideal that, was just moving further and further, and I just couldn't reach there. And so what yoga made me realize is that all I had to start chasing was the healthiest version of my body. And by chasing the healthiest version of my body, I started realizing that I was way more than just my body. I was my thoughts, I was my emotions, and I started becoming aware of all those thought patterns, emotion patterns. How? By cultivating presence on the mat.
And this is what caused you to lose 44
Absolutely.
pounds from yoga?
Yeah, absolutely, because I started almost naturally reaching out to healthier solutions. So it wasn't like I didn't even have to sacrifice anything. I didn't even have to go on a diet. My body started clearing up. It was like a detox. It was like a 360-degree detox. It wasn't just physical.
Now, how long was this process of you
4
losing?
years.
It took over 4 years. You lose
4 years
44
to
pounds.
get to the best version of my body I could possibly
Because you were
get.
44 pounds
I
overweight.
was 44 pounds overweight, and I had never been working out consistently before, so I was starting from a really bad place.
So what happened is that you not only lost 44 pounds, but for once you became consistent with the practice, because yoga
Yes.
was giving you something else.
Absolutely. It gave me like awareness of my thought patterns, right? So I started choosing what kind of thoughts I would think. I started choosing what kind of words I wanted to say. Not all the times, because that would make me a Buddha, and that would be awesome, but I'm not. But most of the times.
Right. But I've also seen your career accelerate, and I've heard you attribute this to yoga. What was yoga doing for you there?
Because again, I was working simultaneously, and that's a key word, simultaneously. That's what yoga allows you to do on all of the 4 dimensions of my being. My physical dimension, my emotional dimension, my intellectual, mental dimension, and my spiritual dimension. And by working simultaneously on all of these dimensions, I eventually became the person that I guess I was meant to become.
So an important thing to understand, guys, is that yoga is really more than exercise. And when you apply yoga to your life, there are a couple of things that's happening. Number one is you start realizing who you truly are. The feelings of unworthiness often disappear. And a lot of people who practice yoga, the thousands of people in Mind Valley community, they often report this. The second thing that happens is that you start discovering who you truly are by getting rid of the garbage that's inside. Negative thoughts, negative ideas, negative views of yourself and the world around you.
So when you practice yoga as a work-in, you will start releasing all of the garbage that you have filled your body with. And I'm not talking just about food, I'm talking about emotions, I'm talking about thoughts that we're totally unaware of because we're on autopilot most of the times. And also we will simultaneously be able to work on all of the 4 dimensions of our being. And this will allow us to feel complete as part of something bigger, so that our approach to other people, our relationships to ourselves and to the world will entirely shift. And so our career, our work, our daily life, and of course our health.
Thank you, Cecilia. Now, one of the things we know is that in recent years, there's been tremendous scientific evidence on yoga. Could you share some of that with us?
There is something really fascinating around the scientific proof behind yoga. It's called fascia. So the fascia is a three-dimensional web that kind of surrounds all of our muscles, cells, all our joints. It's like we are wrapped. Imagine you're a wrap. And what happens is that a lot of emotions and a lot of negative charge gets stuck in the fascia. Now, it's been proven that through yoga, because yoga stretches the fascia, so it helps its fluidity, it helps keep juicy. What happens is that it also releases every emotion that has been stuck there, especially in the hip area. Now, I'll tell you, when you practice a hip opening sequence in a yoga class, which is quite common, you will see some students crying all of a sudden. And the instruction that the teachers will give is, don't go there and try to make them feel better, because they're not feeling sad, they are feeling liberated.
Wow.
They are liberating themselves of a lot of stuff, so much so that if you ask them, why are you crying? They don't know. It's because the fascia is just releasing around the hip area usually a lot of tension, a lot of emotion. And so that's how strongly science and yoga go together.
So Cecilia, one of the things you've done is you've helped Mindvalley develop its yoga training programs. And you've worked and had Mindvalley work with many of the world's leading teachers in yoga. And I noticed that the style of yoga that you've brought to Mindvalley incorporates many different elements, many different teachers. So it's rather agnostic. But for someone who wants to start out, how do you know which style of yoga? How do you know if you should be starting with Hatha yoga versus another form of yoga? Because it seems to be dozens, if not hundreds, of different yoga techniques all across the world.
Yeah, that's a real challenge to pick the right style for you. And the challenge is due to the fact that we think there is a right style for us. There is not. Every type of yoga is the right type of yoga. And I'll tell you, of course, we will share some of the difference between one style and the other one. But what I want to be really clear is that no matter what type of yoga you practice, as long as the intention behind it is to do your work you're getting it right. Okay, so there are some types of yoga that are definitely more physically demanding than others. Ashtanga, for example, is really strong on the body. So if you guys like to really work out and sweat on the mat, then that is the type of yoga for you. Then we have Kundalini yoga that works on the energy that's believed to be coiled at the base of the spine. So it's very spiritual. But again, every day you are different. Our body feels different. Our mind feels different. I personally practice at least 5 different types of yoga every week based on how I feel on that.
What are the 5 types that you practice?
I practice Hatha yoga, Vinyasa yoga, Ashtanga yoga, Kundalini yoga, and Yin yoga.
That's incredible. And so you're really agnostic about it, which I appreciate, because we don't want to say that there's one particular style that's better than the others. And I think we all agree that it's going to be different for different people, and the best way if you were starting out yoga is to experiment with these different styles. One of the things that I know you did with Mindvalley's new yoga quest is that the people who go on this 21-day journey, they experience different styles within this journey. And so they gain the benefits of the totality of the main yoga styles, but in the process they also learn what styles best suit them. Was there a reason you designed it that way?
Absolutely. The reason was to allow everybody to get a taste of different types of yoga and to understand that in a given week, because you will experience in a given week different types of yoga, in a given week you will feel and you may feel like doing something different from what you did yesterday, right? So the idea is to understand the true yoga, and true yoga is just one thing. Yoga actually means connection, it means union between the body and the breath, union between the 4 dimensions of our beings.
Right.
So the moment we practice with that intention of connection, then we are practicing yoga on and off the mat.
Now we also want to point out that in addition to knowing what type of yoga to start with, you want to probably challenge these 5 common myths that prevent people from going into yoga. So of course, one of the first big things was, where do I start? And we've kind of solved that at Mind Valley's yoga program by bringing in different styles and putting them together so you ultimately find the style that's right for you. But these 5 myths are what often hold people back from starting yoga. Now, the first one is the myth of time. As Cecilia pointed out, a lot of people think yoga requires an hour a day. In actuality, it's not about the length of your practice, but it's about the consistency of your practice. If you can do yoga for 5 to 10 minutes a day, but do it consistently, you still get remarkable benefits. Now, the second myth is the myth of money. Do you want to talk about this one, Cecilia?
Yeah, absolutely. So a yoga class usually is definitely $19 to $25 to just drop in. And it doesn't allow you flexibility in terms of time, in terms of space. You need to find time to go to the studio. You need to find a studio close to your home. But online, and especially with a Quest, you can literally practice just between 20 to 30 minutes a day whenever you like with the entire community.
Right, right. And so it doesn't cost that much at all. Now, the third myth is knowing how to start. We have somewhat addressed that. We have somewhat addressed on exactly how to start your yoga practice. In the program that we've created, the 21-day yoga quest on Mind Valley, not only do we cover how to start, but we cover what to do for the first 21 days of your yoga journey. And it gently guides you with the community through this entire 3-week approach. So you get so educated on all of the principles, all of the methodologies, all of the styles that you need to fully get into yoga in around 20 to 30 minutes a day. Now, a lot of people think, I have to be flexible to do yoga.
So, well, the good news is that flexibility and strength, for that matter, are not requirements for yoga, but they are the natural consequence of a consistent practice. So I think that says it all.
And the final myth, and this is a big one, folks, age. A lot of people think I have to be young to practice yoga.
You know, the oldest yoga teacher out there, her name is Tao Porchun Lynch. She's 98 years old. She has been practicing yoga for over 70 years and she's not planning to stop anytime soon. This is just to say that there is no age issue when it comes to practicing yoga, and yoga will meet you wherever you are at. You will be able to adapt the practice to your personal needs.
Fantastic. So, Cecilia, before we go into our yoga class, and I hope you guys are ready to get off your chair and actually experience yoga, before we get to that yoga class, Cecilia is going to share 3 powerful ways to integrate yoga off your mat.
Now, number 1 is give up the sacrifice mentality. Stop thinking that in order to become a yogi, you need to become vegan, vegetarian, you need to give up your favorite food, or you need to give up your life because you need to spend hours on the mat. Intensity here is not important as much as consistency. So 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 20 minutes, whatever it is that you have handy that day, every day is way more powerful and more effective than 90 minutes, once in a blue moon.
So that's a really important point. So it's not about going for long amounts of time, it's more about the regularness
consistency
of the
and
practice.
quality during that time. So practicing the work in and not just the workout.
Right.
That's number 1. So number 2 is gonna sound quite funny because it's usually we hear focus on what is harder for you so you can get better. But in here I will invite you to focus on what comes easier to you. And the reason is simple. Every time we're doing a very complex pose on the mat, it's kind of easy to pay attention to what you're doing because you're quite concerned about what may happen if something goes wrong. But when we are simply standing on the mat, or we're doing a very simple child's pose, or we're doing a very simple asana, we usually tend to get our mind off track, and we start wandering around, and we start thinking about dinner, we start thinking about the next project, and we start losing that work in. So my invitation to you is to actually pay attention to the simplest movements that you're doing on the mat more than the complex ones. Number 3 is going to be stop making it about what you can or cannot do on the mat. Again, yoga is not about the perfect pose you just saw on Instagram. There is no perfect pose. The perfect pose is the perfect pose for you today. And remember that that pose may be different from what was the perfect pose yesterday, and it will be different most likely from what the perfect pose will be tomorrow. So the idea is that you don't identify yourself with what kind of pose you can do on the mat or cannot do, but you start identifying yourself with the courage of showing up every day consistently, unrolling the mat and meeting your Mr. Yoga wherever you're at on that given moment.
Fantastic advice, Cecilia. So in summary, number 1 is give up the sacrifice mentality. Number 2 is focus on what comes easiest for you. And number 3, stop making it about what you can and cannot do. And now we can get to that yoga lesson.
Oh yeah, now it comes the really fun part. So we are going to experience what really true yoga is. We're going to combine the work-in with a workout for a 20 minutes yoga class that's going to be open to any level, but it's going to be very suitable for beginners or any one of you who have never tried yoga before and wants to give it a shot and really understand what it's all about.
So at this point, we want to make sure that you are off your chair and you're ready to watch the next section of this masterclass.
Welcome to the class, yogis. There are only 2 rules today to the game. Number 1, there is not such thing as a perfect pose, ever. There is just the perfect pose for you today, and that keeps changing also. So no expectations there, all right? And rule number 2, just have fun. Are you with me?
Yes.
All right. So let's start in a comfortable sitting position. Closing our eyes, legs crossed however you like. Palms facing down if you are looking for stability today, for clarity. Or palms facing up if you are in search for creativity, some answers that are not coming, if you feel you need energy. And then just connect to the breathing for a few cycles of breath. Start tuning into the present moment, paying attention to the parts of your body that are touching the ground. Your shins, your feet, your sitting bones. Imagine there is a wall behind you, so the spine and the neck are long. Almost like something is pulling you towards the sky, but you're also grounding powerfully towards the earth. Stay here one more breath. Now gently open your eyes. And inhale, hands up towards the sky. Exhale, hug the universe, so extend your wings, both sides of your body, and then keep hugging until you eventually hug yourself. Right elbow on top of left, and this hug is dedicated to all of the things about yourself that you love, that you appreciate, that you are so much grateful for. Just think about a few and say thank you, And then release the hug. Inhale, hands towards the sky once more. Exhale, hug the universe, your unique expression of it. And then keep hugging yourself once more. This time, left elbow on top of the right. And this is a hug dedicated to all of the things that you believe are flaws. So anything that you think it's not good enough, just thank your weaknesses for making you so unique and so special. They don't make you broken, they make you who you are every single day. Inhale, hug again. Inhale, one last time, hands towards the sky. Exhale, hands in prayer in front of your chest. And back with your hands onto your thighs. Inhale, hands towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower just your right hand and walk it a few inches away from your right sitting bones. Now place the palm down. See if you can start bending your right elbow while you lean towards the right side and stretch the left side of the body. Make sure that your left sitting bone doesn't lift, so you're still grounding towards the ground. Your left shoulder is relaxed away from your ear. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, change side. You don't have to bend the elbow too much, just as much as you need to feel a nice deep stretch on all the right side of the torso. Keep reaching, almost like you have lost a pair of keys and you're trying to grab them somewhere in space. Inhale, back to center. And hands in prayer in front of the chest. We're ready to awaken the body a little bit. So let's come to tabletop position at our own pace. So let's pay attention to the alignment here. So the wrists are right below the shoulders, the knees are right below the hips. The toes are untucked and the top of the toes are literally grounding you onto the mat together with your hands. Your fingertips are so powerfully grounding that it feels like you're sucking up the floor. This will protect your wrists, will protect your shoulders. So I call it the baby vacuum cleaner effect. It's like a vacuum that is trying to suck up the floor. It's almost like a little tiny dome, and you want to keep this every step of the way throughout our class. From here, inhale and deep exhale. Now, let's awaken the spine a little bit. Inhale, drop the belly towards the floor. Look up only if that's available for your neck today. And then exhale, angry cat, round the upper back. Again, inhale, belly button tries to kiss the ground. And exhale, reverse the movement. 2 more times. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, reverse. See if you can round the upper back even more now. Inhale, last round. And exhale, round the back. And release. Keeping the same alignment now and keeping the same grounding power throughout the ground. Let's tuck the toes. Inhale here, engage the core. Exhale, just leave the knees, hover them off the mat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 2.5, and 1. Release. Untuck the toes, just rest in child's pose for just a couple of breaths. Resting your sitting bones onto the heels. Let's not make this passive, so the elbows are not really touching the ground and you're lengthening your arms towards the front of the space, walking a few inches more with your hands while your forehead is resting onto the mat. Inhale, prop yourself up back to tabletop. Tuck your toes. From here, inhale. Exhale once again. Lift your knees off the mat just for 3, 2, 1. And very slowly, very gently start straightening your legs into your first downward facing dog. Transitions are as important as poses, so we take it very, very slow. Now in downward facing dog, don't forget to ground with your hands onto the floor. And if you are a little bit stiff, you can shorten the stand between your hands and your feet. That will make your downward dog easier. If you are overly bendy, make sure you're not sagging in between your shoulders, right? So imagine there is a watermelon between your hands and you are trying to make sure it doesn't run off the mat. So you're firming your forearms, you're firming your shoulders, and you're trying to squeeze the watermelon there. And now press, try to press with the heels towards the floor. It doesn't matter if they don't touch. And then push the hips up and back. One more breath in here. Full exhale. Now inhale here. Exhale, shift forward into a big wave, plank. Big, big wave. And then from here, inhale, and exhale, shift back, downward facing dog. Again, inhale, go to plank. We're here to make waves, not just waters. So let's actually do these huge waves and then shift back into downward facing dog. 2 more. Inhale, plank. Exhale, shift back. Don't worry about how you look, worry about how you feel. Inhale, last one. Exhale, shift back. And now one step at a time, come to the top of your mat. And just dangle here, bending your knees as much as you need to. For that matter, let's all bend one knee at a time, no matter how flexible we are. If you don't reach the floor, just make sure you don't stop halfway, but you use a block or a book or something to support your back. If you can, touch the floor. You can also clasp opposite elbows and keep moving one knee at a time, bending one knee at a time. This type of dynamic stretches really help the body's flexibility over time. Especially if we don't practice very often, this will help the body get used to the poses instead of getting shocked by them. Now, if you can, find stillness, just for a few breaths in Uttanasana. You can shake your head, yes and no. Imagine there is a little door on top of your head, and while you're shaking your head, you're releasing any thought, any tension, any worry that you just don't need today, or ever for that matter. So just let it go and feel lighter with every breath. Two more breaths here. Now bend your knees and very slowly, one vertebra at a time, come up, roll your spine up, your head comes up last, together with your shoulders, and then roll them up and back once you reach Tadasana, mountain pose. Come to the top of the mat if you're not there yet. Inhale, hands towards the sky. Exhale, bend your knees and slowly dive forward. Inhale, look ahead of you, climb onto your fingertips. Exhale, step your right foot back and right knee down. You can choose to untuck the toe or keep it tucked, however it's more comfortable on your knee. And just make sure that you don't open your groin towards the right side of the space. So scissor your legs, your right hip will move slightly forward, your left hip will move slightly back. And then from here, place your right hand on the inside of the left foot and start circling your arm towards the left side of the body, of the space. 3 circles on one direction and then 3 onto the other direction. Keep releasing any tension that's accumulated around the shoulders. And then back to center. Tuck the back toe if it's not yet there. And then inhale, big step forward, back to Uttanasana. You can again bend one knee at a time, or you can already find stillness for 2 breaths. Inhale, look ahead of you, climb onto your fingertips, and this time the left foot steps back, left knee down. Again, scissor the leg, find whatever variation with the foot makes you feel more stable. And then from here, place the left hand on the inside of the right foot and twist towards the right side of the space, circling the hands, the arms. 3 times on one direction and 3 times on the other direction. And back to center. Tuck the back toe. Big step forward this time, back to Uttanasana. And let it go for 1 full breath. And now bending the knees. Inhale, slowly roll the spine up, 1 vertebra at a time. And shoulders up and back. And we're in Tadasana again. We keep rolling. Inhale, hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, look ahead of you, climb onto your fingertips. This time, 1 step at a time, pressing with your hands onto the mat. Find plank. Inhale in plank, keeping your shoulders right above the wrists and your heels right above the toes. 1 more inhale here. And exhale, knees, chest, chin down, all the way down onto the mat. Now hands are in line with the chest. Inhale, keeping your elbows tucked. Try to peel your body away from the floor, just slightly, for a baby cobra. Remember, the top of the toes is pressing onto the mat. And exhale down. Inhale again. Peel a little bit higher maybe. Exhale, release. 1 more time. Now peel higher, maybe a little bit more, just a millimeter more. And exhale, release. Prop yourself up, tuck your toes under, use your knee, use your hands, come back to downward facing dog at your own pace. We stay here just for a few breaths, walking. So let's bring the dog for a walk. Let's bend 1 knee at a time once again, so it will become more accessible to many of us. A few more steps. Now inhale here, find your stillness. Exhale, step foot in between your hands. Now again, before we move any further, make sure that you're scissoring the legs. So this is whatever we learned before, it's going to be very helpful now for high lunge. So you can shorten the stand to find a little bit more stability. The most important thing is that you bring your right hip towards the back, your left hip towards the front. Now when you have found that stillness, slowly from your core, come up into your high lunge. Try to lengthen towards the sky while you ground onto the floor. So it's a rebound action of your body against the floor that allows you to lengthen towards the ceiling. Couple of more breaths here. Now hands onto the ground. Stay here, don't move your feet. And now lengthen the top leg, so in this case it's the right leg, and bend. And lengthen, and bend. So this is again dynamic move, dynamic stretching. Really helpful for the right hamstring, really helpful for the flexibility and the strength of the left hip flexor. Keep going. 2 more. And next time you find yourself with your bent ground with your hands onto the floor. Big step back, find your plank. Inhale here, engage the core. Exhale, knees, chest and chin down. Inhale, baby cobra, or you can go a little bit higher if you feel like. And exhale, tuck your toes under, hips up and back, prop yourself up, downward facing dog. Just a few steps for our little dog here. Before we inhale and we step the left foot in between our hands. Again, pay attention to the transition, so get used to the idea that it's not about the next pose, it's simply about the next breath. So every breath is connected to a movement, right? Scissoring the legs, connecting the movement of the right hip moving forward and the left hip moving back. With our breathing, we find stability and slowly we come up into high lunge. Few breaths in here. Keep scissoring the legs. Don't focus on anything else, just that little action. You can gaze at one point in front of you to keep stable. One more breath here. And exhale, both hands onto the ground. And we go with a dynamic stretch. Inhale, lengthen the front leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lengthen. Again, exhale, bend. Two more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, bend. Big step forward this time, back to Uttanasana. Just one breath to reset. And now slowly open, tiptoes, your heel toes, your feet a little bit open, a little bit wider than your hips. And then very slowly, very gently, see if you can come to a Malasana Yogi Squat. Now, if it's a little bit tough, then what you can do, you can roll your mat and then place the heels right below, place the mat right below the heels, right? It's gonna definitely help you. You can also sit on a block. Right? Yes. So we're gonna stay here just for a few breaths, so don't worry. Hands in prayer in front of the chest. See if you can help yourself with the elbows to open the hips from side to side, just as much as it feels comfortable. Challenging, yet exciting. One breath here. And then inhale, lengthen the right hand a few inches towards the right side of the space. Exhale and inhale, open towards the left, twisting the body and lengthening the left arm towards the ceiling. Back to center and change. This time you twist towards the right side of the space and you open the chest. Focus on opening more than twisting. With every inhale, you're lengthening. With every exhale, you're twisting a little bit further. Back to center. And now, pretend you're a butterfly. No sound whatsoever. We're going to try and come to a seated pose. Engaging the core without making no sound. Oops. All right. Extend your legs in front of you. Flex the toes. Engage the legs. So this is not passive. Make sure, by flexing the toes, you will make sure that the whole legs are engaged. Inhale, hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, extend towards your toes, and you can stop anywhere along the way. You can choose to bend the knees or to sit on a block or something that will help you this way. Inhale here, and exhale, lengthen. Paschimottanasana. Dynamic stretch again. So inhale up, very slowly exhale, lengthen. Inhale up, exhale, lengthen. Keep the spine flat, try not to round. If you're rounding, you've gone too far. Two more, inhale. Exhale, lengthen. One more inhale. And exhale. This time we find stillness wherever we are. Let's try to keep the spine flat. Let's try to keep the feet and the legs engaged. If we are flexible enough today to do so, we can clasp the left wrist with the right hand and eventually rest our forehead onto the shins. Only and only if that's available to you. Otherwise, you're already in the perfect pose. 3 full cycles of breath here. Very slowly start propping yourself up. And you can move a little bit towards the center of your mat, so you can start teasing the mat. Teasing, and very slowly, you're still a butterfly. You are reaching the ground. Bring your knees towards your chest and give yourself a hug. You can also see if you can touch your knees with your forehead, like a little tiny cosmic egg, which is this unique expression of the universe, already perfect, already enough, already special in its own way. And then bring your head down onto the mat, release the hug, and extend one leg at a time. Open the arms sideways, keeping the palms facing up. Let the ankles roll out. Close your eyes. And just find your Shavasana, your final pose. Now focus on your breathing. And give your breath an intention that He will carry for you for the rest of the day and for the rest of the week. The commitment to remember that you are already perfect. The commitment to let go of any label, judgment, assumption, belief that you're still not good enough. The commitment to always give your best and to be open to embrace whatever happens next, even if it's not what you were expecting, knowing there is always a lesson there, and that lesson will allow you to unlock an even better version of yourself. Start moving your fingertips and your toes a little. Move your head, yes and no. Bring one knee at a time towards your chest. And very gently start coming up however you like. There is no rule here. I have the mic, so I'm just gonna roll up from straight. You can rest on the right side of your body and then come up at your own pace. Bring your hands in prayer in front of your chest. Bow your chin forward slightly. And let's honor each other today for showing up on our mat. And let's commit to greet every soul we meet for the rest of the day with the word Namaste.
Cecilia, thank you so much for sharing that. I hope you guys enjoyed that yoga class. I know some of you might be feeling a little bit pulled in all directions and a little bit tired right now, but hopefully you enjoyed that. And one of the beautiful things about yoga is that it's not about the length of time you practice, it's about the consistency of that practice. And so Mind Valley has been working on a program called the Mind Valley Yoga Quest. It's a 21-day program, and over 21 days, for between 20 to 30 minutes a day, it guides you by bringing you beautiful, proper instructions from many of the world's leading yoga instructors. And this quest is meant to be done as a community. So we're going to have thousands of people start the quest together on the day it opens and go through 20 to 30 minutes a day of yoga for 21 days. At the end of the 21 days, you're going to experience a remarkable transformation. And the best part about this is you're doing it with a community. Every day, you'll get a video on your Mind Valley Quest app, or on your Mind Valley Apple TV app, or on your Mind Valley Home on your desktop. And you'll be going through it day by day with a tribe of passionate people ready to bring yoga into their lives. I want to invite Cecilia to tell you more about this program and how, if you want to take yoga to the next level, this might be just the thing for you.
Absolutely. This is going to be a 21 yoga journey. You are going to practice with some of the most remarkable yoga teachers in the world. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. And we are going to explore together the workout of yoga and the work-in of yoga. So every session will be around 20 to 30 minutes long, so you can squeeze it in any given day. So week 1 is going to be just about moving, shaking the body, shaking the energy, getting the gist of it, understanding what some of the basic yoga movements are really about. It's gonna push you a little, but it's definitely gonna be fun, I promise you. Week 2 is all about core strength, stability, and balance.
And one of the reasons why it's structured that way is because balance and core strength and stability are so essential to being fit. A lot of people think fitness is being able to run, right? Or take a good jog. But in today's world, fitness also means being able to do basic movements that you need to function in life. From lifting up your bags to put them in the trunk of your car, to being able to carry grocery bags up a flight of stairs. So week 2 is really about core strength. It's about stability, and especially the older we get, the more stability and balance are really, really, really important to us. For example, many Americans who are over 60, one of the biggest causes of accidental death is actually falling down. And this is why core strength and balance are so essential in our lives.
And week number 3 is going to be all about challenging our fears. We're gonna play a lot with arm balancing, and eventually we're gonna end with a really deep and sweet restorative flow, which will help us integrate everything that we have done throughout the journey.
And one of the things about this program that we've designed here is that we're bringing you different, unique, powerful, world-class yoga instructors. Now, firstly, before I tell you the names of some of the yoga instructors who are going to be in this program, know that if you scroll down below this masterclass, you can directly enroll in Mind Valley's Yoga Quest. And as a special thank you for spending this past hour with us, going through this masterclass, we're giving you a special enrollment discount directly on this page. So do not close this page, because this is the best enrollment price you could ever get for this program. And because Mind Valley so believes in quality and in serving our customers, you can enroll in this program and take it all the way up to day 10, completely risk-free. At any point before day 10, if you feel this isn't for you, you can send one email to support@mindvalley.com and get a full, unconditional refund. It's that easy. Now, shall we talk about some of the remarkable teachers we have assembled for this program?
Yeah, I'm so excited for this panel of yoga experts we have assembled.
And the people we are bringing you include Delama Devi, Richard Schultz, Aaron Motz, Timothy Harwood, Aaron Kleineman, Lindsay Sekonok, and many, many, many others. Now, one of the things that's important about how Quest as a platform is structured is that as you're learning from all of these different teachers, you know you have Cecilia guiding you through. So Cecilia connects the dots between the teachings of all of these different teachers. But this is what else we do, and this is what has made Quest one of the most advanced learning platforms in the world today. It literally has one of the highest completion rate of any learning platform in the world. And a key part of it is that everybody does this as a community. So our yoga challenge on Quest opens up on a particular day, and thousands of people join on that day. You cannot just join at any time. The reason is everyone starts together. Everyone is going through day 2 together and day 3 together, and ultimately all of us cross that finishing line together with all of these different teachers and Cecilia guiding you between all of these different beautiful ideas of yoga. Now, at the same time, as you're going through it together, all our students are connected on a Facebook group, and there we have facilitators who are going to be there to answer your questions, engage with the group, and it's really fun what they do. They get people to share their unique yoga poses, they get people to share everything from its spiritual advice to recipes. It becomes a really tight-knit group. And what we are finding is that many people make friends with each other on the group. So folks, thank you so much for joining us in this masterclass. I cannot wait to see you in Mindvalley's 21-day yoga quest on our Quest platform with all of these remarkable teachers that we have assembled. And remember, enroll before the quest starts so that you can be part of this incredible group of students going through this 21-day journey together. Now, Cecilia, we have a lot of questions from people who want to know more because they're super excited about this. But one of the first questions is, how is the Mindvalley Yoga Quest different from other online yoga courses out there?
It's a very simple vision. You will finally experience what true yoga really is. So you won't only do your workout, you will also do the work in, and you will experience yoga on the mat and off the mat. You will really be able to work on all of the 4 dimensions of your being at once.
And a reason for this is because Mindvalley didn't start out as a yoga company. We started out as a company focused on mindfulness and meditation. So the spiritual essence, it was a key part of what we wanted to retain when we designed this. You see, in India, my family is from India. In India, yoga is not just about flexibility or the physical body. There's such a huge focus on wisdom, on spirituality. And that essentially is true yoga. And so we wanted to make sure that whatever we are teaching was not about just looking good, right? Or having incredible Instagram pictures. It was about the whole of yoga and all its many benefits for your emotional states, your spirituality, and your mind. And I want to add one more thing. It's the way this has been constructed that also makes it different. You are not joining a yoga portal with 100 different videos. You're going through a journey with a tribe of committed individuals, and you're going on this journey together for 21 days. We start together, we end together. Now, following that, we do have a vast yoga library that you can subscribe to and get access to yoga programs and poses and courses and yoga solutions for the rest of your life, if you want. But otherwise, this starts off as a 21-day journey. Now, the third question is this quest for beginners, or do I need to be fairly intermediate or experienced?
This is open to any level, and beginners are absolutely welcome. If you've had past injuries, I do recommend that you consult your doctor first and you make sure that you can actually practice yoga on the mat.
Now, in an ideal world, how often should I be practicing yoga?
There is no right or wrong here. Consistency is key. So I would suggest that you try and practice at least 3 times a week after you finish your yoga quest, because by then you will have built up your yoga daily routine. And I do also suggest that you try and practice 30 minutes if you only have 30 minutes. Don't skip it just because you don't have a full hour. It's not necessary.
So this question is yoga suitable during pregnancy?
Now, Vishen, this is a tricky question. It is suitable for pregnancy, so much so that we have prenatal yoga and postnatal yoga. But my suggestion is that if you're pregnant, considering the many variables that are involved, you first consult with your doctor and then you decide together whether you can do it or not.
Now, this question is interesting. Some people call yoga a religion. Is that true?
Absolutely not. Yoga is not a religion. It's a spiritual practice. But the word spiritual here has nothing to do with religion and everything to do with your connection to the universe as a unique expression of the whole.
And your connection to yourself as well.
Absolutely.
Now, how soon will I see changes in my body?
You will see changes almost instantly. And the reason is that you will start connecting to your body like never before. You will start noticing parts of your body that are calling for your attention that before you were just neglecting because you were not aware of them.
And you also got to understand this. Some of the changes you're going to see are neurological. This means there is no change in the shape of your body, but there's a change in what you're able to do with your body because your brain has been trained to move your body in different ways. For example, you might see a posture improvement, you might see a flexibility improvement. You won't see it physically in your body, but you will feel it in your ability to do certain things.
And over time, you will also see the benefits, but it will take
As you said, you lost 44 pounds in yoga. Now, what happens if someone misses a day of this quest?
Absolutely nothing. If you miss a day, just pick it up from the next one. It's fine, as long as you try and practice your yoga off the mat. So if you can't unroll the mat on a given day, just don't worry about it, but at least try and practice the philosophy part of it, that you can practice at work, you can practice when you are driving, you can practice while you're eating, and we'll dig more into that inside the class.
And one of the other things is you actually get this accessible to you on your computer or on your TV too, if you have an Apple TV device. So you can actually load this up on the big screen using the Mindvalley Apple TV app and watch your yoga classes there. And finally, a big question is, what happens after the 21 days, right? Well, one of the things that we have available is a full-on yoga platform called Zenword. It's really affordable. It's a small monthly subscription fee. It has thousands of people involved in it. And after the 21 days, you can simply choose to join Zenword, and it'll give you hundreds of hours of additional yoga training that you can choose to bring into your life and practice anytime. And you're also part of a community of thousands of committed, amazing, incredible, beautiful, supportive people who are there to help you on this journey. So yoga truly becomes a way of life. And Cecilia, as we're ending here, I know how excited you are about this program. And this program really has been a 3-year journey, because this isn't something that we just created. The teachers that we put together in this program, the classes that we filmed, the design has been 3 years in R&D, 3 years in research, 3 years in development. Cecilia and our team put in their heart and soul in making this as incredible as it could be. And Cecilia, I know you're super excited about this. Tell us, what does it mean to you to be able to take all of these people through this journey?
Well, because of the magical, life-changing transformation that yoga made into my life, this vision means the world to me, literally.
Fantastic, Cecilia. So can't wait to see you guys at Mindvalley's Yoga Quest. The enrollment button is directly below this webinar. Go ahead, click enroll, and we cannot wait to welcome you to our yoga community.
I'll see you there, guys. Ciao.